So from this section onwards, we will be building our front end. But before that, I need to do some correction because in the last section, I made a mistake here on error. So here I need to pass the on error function and not just the message. So I can say on error, and we need to pass this message in the arguments. And now we can move on with our front end. So the first thing we will build is the home screen, in which we will show all the mountains images with their name and height in a staggered vertical grid. So let's create a package for screens. So here I can say new package screens, and in this package we need to create a Kotlin class, not class, file. So I can say home screen. So the first thing we will create is a composable function to display a single image. Then we will create another function to pass this function in the staggered vertical grid. So let's start with add composable. Here we can say fun function display image, and it's going to need some parameter. So the first thing is will be the image itself. So we can say image. It should have imported, but it did not imported the image from my package. And the second is we need a function to select the image. So we can say select image, which is going to be of type long. Then we need a modifier. So modifier equals modifier. So I think it is the first time you are seeing the modifier. So we use modifier to decorate or add behavior to compose UI elements. For example, if we want to set a background or give a padding to an image, then we will have to use modifier. So inside this function, we need to have a surface. So let's say surface, and we need to remove the import here. So surface is a central metaphor in Jetpack Compose. It influences how a piece of surface visually relate to other surface, and it also responsible for clipping and shaping and providing color and adding border and setting elevations, and most importantly handling click events. So we can say surface inside this small braces, we can say modifier equal modifier dot padding. We want some padding around the surface, so we can say 4.dp, and we need to import the dp. So add plus enter. Then we want to have a clickable effect on the image, so we can say dot clickable. Not this one, but this one. And inside this clickable function, we can provide on click function, and in this on click function we can pass our select image function, and we can provide the id for image. So we can use this image variable to set the id. So we can say image dot ID. So now we are done with modifier, and now we can set the surface properties after modifier. So let me see. So here we can say comma color, and we can say material themes dot colors dot background to set the background color, and then we can set the elevation. So for elevation we can say elevation equal 8.dp, and then we can also provide a shape for our surface. So we can say shape equals, and we can say rounded corner shape, and here again we need to provide the dp. So it will be 8.8 dp. After defining surface, we can define the screen component, and for that we need to use constant layout. So we will be needing the dependency for constant layout. So let's add the dependency. So in the project level build Gradle file, we can say here constraint layout version, and which is 1.0.0 dash alpha 07, and then we need to sync the project. Now we can declare the dependency in the app level build Gradle. So here I can say constraint layout. So many typos. Anyway, this is not necessary. So here we can say implementation Android X dot constraint layout, and I guess we can select the constraint layout compose, and we just need to pass the version, constraint layout version, and we can sync now. Now in the here we will define the constant layout. So we can say constant layout, and here we need to create references. So what are the items that we are going to have in the screen? So there are 3 items that we will have. So we will have 3 UI items in the constant layout, and those are the image itself. So we can say image pic, and I am using a different variable name because I have already used the image variable name. So image pic, and the second element will be title. So we can say title, and the last element will be height. So we can say height, and then we can say create reference. So that's how we create reference in constant layout in Jetpack Compose. After this we need a function to display the image from network. So now we need a custom network image function. So let's create this function so we can fetch the image from network. So we will create a new package, and we will call it util, and here we need to create the network function. So we can say network image here we will start with at composable, then we can say function network image, and this requires some parameter. So the first parameter will be a URL since it's fetched from a network, from internet. So URL of type is string, and then we need a content scale because we need to crop the image. So we can say content scale dot crop. Then we will be needing the modifier. So you can say modifier equals modifier, and after that we can set the coil image library. So we can say coil image, and we need to choose this one, image model. So again I need to remove this import. Sometimes it import all the text in the function itself and also here. So you can remove it always if you get it here also. So image model, for image model we can say URL, and after that we need to provide shimmer params. So we can say shimmer params, and we need to provide a color for it. So we can say base color, and then we can say material theme dot colors dot background, and we also need the highlight color. So we can say highlight color, and for this we need to create a new color so that we can highlight. So we can go to our UI package, and here in colors file we can copy this value and paste it, and we can say it shimmer highlight, and we can choose a color from here. So we can click it, and I want to have, I guess, this color around here, and after that we can get back to our network image, and for highlight color we can say shimmer highlight, and what else, we also need modifier. So we can say modifier equal modifier, and we also need the drop off. So we can say drop off. So it's going to be 0.6.5 f. So it can adjust the size of the fading edge of the highlight. And after modifier we can set a response in case of failure for image request. So we can say failure, and we can use a text here. So we can say text, and we can provide the text here. So we can say image request failed, and you can provide a style for the text. So you can say style material theme dot typography, typography is used for styling the text. There are number of options. You can select whichever you want. I am going with body 2. The others are very big actually, so be careful there. And yeah, I guess we are done for the network image, so we can get back to home screen. And here now we can call our network image. So network image, so for URL we can pass the image dot image URL, and we also need the modifier, so we can say modifier equal modifier, and now we need to constrain the image, so we can say dot constraints as and we need to pass the reference that we created, this one. So we need to pass the image pic reference here. Then we have to provide the scope for it. So we can say center horizontally to, and we can say parent, and then we need to link the top to the top of the parent. So we can say top dot link to parent dot top. And since it's an image, so we need to provide a aspect ratio for it. So here we can say dot aspect ratio, and I can say 0.8 f. So after image we need to create the constant for title. So here we can say text, and for text we can use the image dot title. Then we can provide some styling, so we can say comma style. Again we are going with the material theme dot typography dot body 2, and then we can align it to center, so we can say text align and text align dot center, and then we need to constraint it, so we can say modifier equal modifier dot constraint as, we can say title. Then we need to provide the scope for it, so we can say center horizontally to parent to make it in center of horizontal. And then we need to link to the bottom of the image, so we can say link to, and we can say image pic. So now this time we are going to link it to the bottom of the image, so we can say image pic dot bottom, and here we need to provide the top actually. So top to the link of image bottom, and then we need to do the same thing with the height, so we can just copy it and paste down here. And for text we can say image dot height, and for constraint we can provide the height. Here we can say top dot link to title dot bottom, and we also need some padding for both of these text. So here I can say dot padding of 8 dp, and for this one we need to set both horizontal and bottom padding. So horizontal 8 dot dp For bottom we can say, here we can say dot padding bottom, and we can provide 12.dp. So that's it for the single image, display single image or display image. So after creating function to display a single image, now we need to create a composable function to display the list of images. So we can say here add composable function display images, and here we need a list of images. So instead of just image, we can say list, and then we can provide the image data class here. Yeah. After that, we need the function to select the image. It can remain the same as display image. And then we need the modifier. So we can say modifier, and then we can initialize with the modifier. Now we need a column where we can put our display image function in a staggered vertical grid. So let's define our column. So basically a column is a composable layout in which you can put your UI elements in a vertical sequence like you do in XML with linear layout having vertical orientations. Now we need to initialize the modifier. So we can say modifier equal modifier and now we need to have a scrolling behavior because it's a list of images, so it can be very long. So we need this scrolling functionality. So we can say modifier equal modifier dot vertical scroll, and then we can use a function, a composable function which is called remember scrolling state, remember scroll state for scrolling. So what it does is that it creates the scroll state and remember the position based on the currently scroll configuration to allow changing scroll position, and it also observe the scrolling behavior. After that we can set a background color. So we can say here dot background, and we can use material theme dot colors dot background. Now we need to create a stagger vertical grid where we can display all images in this column scope. So for that we need to create another function. So we can go to our util package and say new Kotlin class, and we need to choose file, and we can say staggered vertical grid. So here we can say add composable function staggered vertical grid, and it's going to require some parameters. So the first parameter we need is a max column width. So we can provide a column width. So we can say max column width, and which is type of DP. So we can select the DP of androidx.compose.ui.unit. Then we need we need to import the DP as well. So we can say alt plus enter. After that, we need the content inside the grid. So we can say content, which is going to be of type composable. So we can say at composable, provide the unit, and then we need the modifier as well. So we can say modifier equals modifier. Then we need a layout function which is used to measure and then position multiple layout children. So we can say layout, and for content we can set the content we just created. So we can set it to make content, and we don't need the measure policy, so we can remove this. And we need modifier, so we can say modifier, and we can do the same with modifier. So we can set the modifier to modifier. Now we need to check the bounds of the width, so we can say measurables constraint. We need the lambda function, and then here we can say check constraint dot has bounded width, and then we need to set a message here just in case of infinite width. So we can say unbounded width not supported. So what it does, it will return true if it has a finite value for the maxed width. Otherwise it will return false and it won't create the grid. So once it has checked the maxed width, we can then define the children's. So now we can define column for the grid. So we can say we need to define the column first. So we can say value columns. So we can say value columns, and we can get the column number of column by dividing the maxed width with the maxed column width. So we can say constant dot max width. So we will get the max width of the screen, and then we can divide it by the value that we will later provide with this max column width. So we can say max column width. Then we need to create it to pixel. So here we can just say dot to px, so it will create to the pixel. And then we need this column to be a whole integer value, because this calculation will definitely give float value, because the maxed width, sorry, it has to be maxed width, my bad. So the maxed width can be vary depending on the screen size. So we can convert into int by saying to the end of this curly brace, we can say dot to int. So we can get the value in the rounded number. Then we need to define the width of the column. So we can say value column width and here we can say constraints dot maxed width, and then we can divide it by the number of columns to get the column width. So it will get the width of for the column, and then we need to provide constant for the items. that we will be put in the grid. So they all will be of same width as we set them. So we can say value item constraint equal constraint dot copy, and here we will set the max width to column width. So all the items in the grid or in the column will have a same width. So it will be only as big as column width and won't be as wider as parent of the screen. Otherwise it could take the whole screen and you won't see the second column. Next, we need to define the height of the column. So we can say value column height and this is going to be of type int array, integer array, and we need to provide the columns and we need to set the initial value to 0. So we can initialize it with int array with initial value of 0 and we can pass columns as a parameter to keep track of columns, and then we can later decide the height of the column as we put the items in the column. When we put items in the column, it will measure how much height it needs and then it will provide the enough height for the column. Then we need all the items that we are going to put in the column. So we can say value placeable equal measurables dot map. Here we need a measurable, then lambda function. Then we need to define which column is shortest. So we can put the next column beneath it. Of course, in our app, all the image will be of almost same height. So we can say value column equal shortest column, and we need to provide the column heights. So this function we will need to create it. We will just create it shortly, but let me finish this vertical grid first. So now we need to measure all the placeables. So we can say value placeable equals measurables dot measure item constraint, and then after measuring the item we need to add the height of that item to the column height. So the column height can increase as we add more and more item. So we can say column height and pass the column as an array because it's an integer array, and then increase the height from the height that we get from the placeable. So here we need to pass the columns, and then we can add it by saying plus equal placeable dot height. Then we can return the placeable. So we can say placeable Now let's make the function for the shortest column. So here we can say private function shortest column, and it's going to require a parameter which is column height. So we can say column heights, which is of course of type integer array, and it's going to be of type int. Here we need to define a variable for minimum height, so we can say variable min height, and we can set it to max value, so we can say int dot max value. And then for the initialize shortest column, we can initialize with 0, so we can say var column equal 0. Now we need to measure the height for each index, so we can say column heights dot for each index, and here it requires the index and the height, so I'm going to change it to height, and here we will just use an if statement to check the height. So we can say if height is smaller than minimum height, then we set the minimum height to height. So we can say min height equal height, and then we set that index to the column, so we can say column equal index, and then we return the column. So here we can return column. So that was the function for to find the shortest column. Now get back to the staggered vertical grid, because this function still required some work. So after placeable, we need to get the largest column from all the columns we have. So we can say value height and equal column heights dot max or null. So here we are trying to see, so it will return the largest element or null in the case if there is no element. Then we have to check the height, then we need to check the height that lies between, to make sure that it lies between minimum height and maximum height. So it should not be less than minimum height or more than max height. So we can use the course in function to constrain in. So we can say dot course in, and here we need to provide the constant for minimum height and maximum height as well. So we can say constant dot max height, and here we need to provide the question mark, which I forgot. And let's get to the second line, and we also need to set it to the minimum height. So if it cannot satisfy both of these constant, then we can set it to minimum height. So we can say question mark dot constraint. Why it's not taking? Maybe I should put it all of them in one line and see what happens. So here I can say question mark colon constant dot min height. It's too big anyway for one line. Now we need to provide the scope for the layout. So we can say layout, and it require two parameters. So width, and we can set it to constraint dot max width, and height. So we will set it to the height that we just calculated above. Now we need the column position for a y-axis, so we can place them at position like 0 0, which is the highest point on the screen. So we can say value column y equal int array, and we need to provide the columns here. We can say columns, and we can initialize with 0 because we need to start from 0, so we will initialize with 0. Now we need to go through each item we want to place, so we can say placeable dot for each, and here we need the placeable followed by lambda expression. Now we can put the shortest column based on the value of column y. So we can say value column equal shortest column, and here we can just provide column y. Then we need to place it on the screen, so we can say placeable dot place. So we need to start from 0, so we can say x equal column width into column, which will give the position of 0 at x-axis, and then for y we can say column y, and we can just provide the column here as an array. So it will give us the position for the first item at the top left corner on the screen, and it will add the height of that item onto the y-axis. So when we will put the third item, it will start from that position and not from the 0 0 position. So next we need to add to the column y of the height of the previous item. So we can say column y, and we need to provide the column so it can keep track of the column, and then we can add the height, so we can say placeable dot height. So that's it for the staggered vertical grid. Let me see if we get everything right. I think I have missed something because this column is not getting used, so somewhere I have made a mistake for sure. Also we need to make this measurable and not measurables. Okay, here we need to pass the shortest column, this column, and not the column that we defined. So we can say column, and we are good for this staggered vertical grid, and it's not easy to get it first go. So if you don't understand it completely at first, then don't get panic or disappointed. You will get it by going through the code couple of times. So try to read and analyze if you don't understand it, and then it will become more clear and you will understand it more better. So now I want to use this staggered vertical grid in our home screen. So let's do that. So here we can say staggered vertical grid, and it required the max column width, as I mentioned when I was making the vertical grid. So we will provide the max column width in home screen here, and it will divide the max width so we can get the number of columns. So here I can say 225.dp. You can choose whatever you want between 200 to 250, and then we need some paddings around. So we can say modifier equal modifier dot padding of 4dp. So it will get the padding of 4dp from all sides. Then we can run a for each collection on the image variable. So we can create a param for single image and then loop the display image function through lambda expression. So we can say images dot for each, and here we need to provide an image variable and then lambda expression, and here we can pass our display image function. And image, for image we can set the image, this image variable that we just created, and for select image we can pass the select image function. And I think we are good for the home screen. So I'm getting this error, so let's see what is that. Create function staggered vertical grid, which I just did. So we are getting some errors, and it is something to do with the staggered vertical grid. So let's go back to the grid, our grid, and here I made some mistakes. So here we need the ceiling to actually convert it to integer. So I forgot that one, and I think we need to provide this modifier first hand before anything else. That is the reason I think it's not working. So let's do that, and yeah, now it's working. So that's it for the home screen, and in the next section we will be building our view model. So in this section we will create our view model. So what is view model? We use the view model class to store and manage UI related data in a lifecycle conscious way. The view model class allows data to survive device configuration changes such as screen rotations and change to keyboard availability. Also in view model, we convert an app's UI data into encapsulated live data and add observer methods that are notified when the value of live data changes. So this view model will be associated with the main screen, which will create afterwards. So let's first create a package for a main screen. So package, we can say main screen, and here goes our view model. So we can say class main view model. We need to annotate with at hilt view model because it's a hilt app. If it was not hilt app, we would just annotate with view model. Then we need to extend this class to view model. So we can say view model. Then we need to inject the main repository with injection constructor. So we can say class main view model at inject constructor, and we need to import the injection. Let's define our main repository. So we can say private value main repository. Now we need to declare some mutable live data which requires lifecycle live data dependency, which I think we have already declared. Let me check it. So lifecycle live data we need. Yeah, we declared it some time ago. So we are good to go. So let's create our first mutable live data, which is an image list. So we can say private val underscore image list mutable live data, and it's going to be of type boolean. So we can say boolean, then initialize with mutable live data, set the value to true. So mutable live data is a class and it extends the live data type class. It provides the post value, set value methods publicly, something that live data class does not provide. Live data or mutable live data is commonly used in updating data in a recycler view, or in our case lazy column, from a collection of list type. Lazy column is the new recycler view in Jetpack Compose, and it is much easier and sophisticated compared to recycler view. Also very easy to implement. So next variable we need is the loading variable. So we can say private, oh, where are we going with that? Private val, we can say underscore is loading, also going to be of type mutable live data. We can say of type boolean, and then initial value we can set it to false. So this is loading variable will tell that whether the data is loading or not. So when it's loading it will be true, and when it's not loading it will be false. So initially it will be set to false. Then we need a variable for the toast message so that we can show error message and response. So we can say private value or val underscore toast, which is also going to be a mutable live data, but the typing will be string because it's mostly a message. Also need to initialize it with just mutable live data. Now we need an observer to observe the changes in the image list. So we can use live data, which is a data holder class that can be observed within a given life cycle. So we can say value image list of type live data, and here we need to provide our data class. So first we need to provide the typing list, then we provide our data class, which is image, and then we can set it to the value we created here, image list, and we can say dot switch switch map returns the live data from the input of this live data by applying transform on each value set on this, which we are just going to create. So we can say this dot main repository dot load image. Then we will have to provide all the functions that we created in the main repository as a parameter to load image. So in a load image parameter, we can say on start, and on start we can say, we can set this loading to true. So we can say dot post value true. Then we can say on success, and we can set the is loading variable to false. So we can say is loading dot post value to false, and then we need the on error. So we can say on error, and on error we will just provide the toast value. So we can say toast dot post value, and we can just say it. So on start we can say is loading is true. On success we can make it false, so we can stop the loading. And on error we can post the toast message by providing it, because the error messages are already declared in main repository. Afterwards we can call the calculation as a live data function on this. So we can say dot as live data, and it requires a coroutine context, because coroutine context include a coroutine dispatcher to determine what thread or threads the corresponding coroutine uses for its execution, because coroutine always execute in some context represented by a value of the coroutine context type. So let's create the coroutine context. So for that we need an extension for this view model. So let's create the view model extension. So where should we create the extension? Let's create a new package for extensions. So here we can say extensions, and we can call it view model extension. And we don't need class, we can just say value view model dot view model IO context of type coroutine context. And now we need to call inline function to attach the dispatcher to our coroutine context. So we can say inline get, and we can say view model scope dot coroutine context plus dispatchers dot input output. So we inline function to reduce runtime overhead, because in Kotlin all high order functions are stored as an object. So memory allocation for both functions object and classes and virtual calls might introduce runtime overhead. So inline keyword requests the compiler to not allocate memory and simply copy the inline code of that function at the calling place, and then we append the dispatchers.io input output, which is optimized to perform disk or network input output outside of the main thread, because this load image function is running on a worker thread, as you remember, and not on the main thread, and which requires optimizations. Now we provide this view model input output context as a parameter to our live data function in our main view model. So here we can say view model input output context. Now we also need an observer for our toast, so we can say value toast of type live data, provide the string, and we can say get, and we can set it to toast. So get function is used to set a getter like we do in Pojo classes. So that's it for the view model, and we will add more items as we require them as we build our app. So the next thing is we are going to build our screen where we will create the main screen. So after creating view model, now we need to use this view model to set our screens. So let's create a screen function in screen package where we will unload all our repository data. So in screens, create a new Kotlin file. Let's call it screens. So before we build our screen, we need to first create an app bar. So let's create the app bar first. So we can say add composable function app bar. Here we can bring the top app bar from material design. So we can say top app bar, and we can give some properties to it. So we can say elevation 6.dp, and we can give it a background color. So we can say background color purple 200. Let's bring it down to the second line, and let's give it a height. So we can say modifier equal modifier dot height, and let's give it 45 dp height. Then we need to provide a text for it. So let's say text, and for text we will use string resource to get the name of the app. So we can say text equal string resource, and here we need to provide the id for it. So we can say id r dot string dot app name, and I guess I have to import the resource, otherwise I cannot access it. So let's import it, and r dot string dot we can say app name. Then we can provide color for it. So we can say color equal color dot white. So color dot white, and we can give some font size. So we can say font size 18.sp, and then we need to import the sp as well, and then we can give some font weight. So font weight, we can say font weight dot bold, and let's give some padding. So we can say modifier equals modifier dot padding of 8 dp. So we can say 8.dp, and then we can align it to center vertically. So we can say alignment dot center vertically. So that's our app bar. Now we need to create the tabs for bottom navigation. We are going to have two tabs. So we need an enum class to create constants for the two tabs, and each tab have a title and an icon. So let's create an enum class. So enum class, we can say image tab, and we need to provide the two parameters for title and icon. So we can say here, so we will use the titles from the string resource file, because we should not hard code string variables. So to declare a string resource variable, we can say add string resource or string res val, we can say title of type int, because we have already declared it as a string resource, and in a string resource all the string resource have their unique id. So we fetch them using the id and not string, and this is something Android Studio does under the hood and take care of it by itself. For icons, we can simply declare them as image vector. So we can say val icon of type image vector. Now we need to define the two tabs here, which are separated by a comma. So we can say home, and we will fetch from resource file. So we can say r dot string dot, we can say menu underscore home, and we have not created it yet, so we need to create this resource. So let's just create it. We can say it home, and then we need an icon for it. So we can say icons dot field dot home, which already comes with Jetpack Compose, so we don't have to create our own icon. And then we will have another tab for list screen. So we can say list, and here we can say r dot string dot menu underscore list, and let's create this one as well. So we can call it list, and we can use the icons for it. So icons dot field dot list. Now we need to create a companion object to set the call for two tabs. So we can call the tabs without creating an instance of this class, and also you can access its member using only the class name as a qualifier. So let's do that. Companion object, and here we can say function get tabs from resource, and then we need to provide the two parameters, or no, not two but just one, the resource. So we can say at string res of type resource, variable name resource, type int, and then we have to extend it with image tab. We just created it. Then we can return a when function to switch between the two tabs. So this when function is conditional expression with multiple branches. Here we have only two for the tabs, so we can say return when, and we can pass the resource in the as a condition. So we can say when resources or resource, and then we can say r dot string dot menu list. So if it's a menu list, then we will call the list. Otherwise we can use the else statement. So we can say else home. So this way we are setting the home tab as a default tab, and the when function matches its argument against all branches sequentially until some branch condition is satisfied. Okay, here we need to have a what is called semicolon. Yeah, semicolon. So that's it for this section, and we will keep building this screen in the next section. Now we will create the function for screens in which we will put the top app bar and the bottom navigation, where we will have the tabs and the data related to respective tabs. So let's create the function screens. So here we can say that composable function screens, and it's need two parameters, the view model and the function for selecting image. So we can say view model, and we can extend it to main view model that we created, and the function for selecting image. So we can say select image, which is obviously going to be of type long, followed by unit. Then we need a variable for image, so we can observe what's going on in the repository. So we can say value images, and we need the list type for the images for our data class images. So let's get the data class, and then we can say by view model. So we are using this reference view model to get the image list from our view model. So we can say view model dot image list. So let me just open our view model. So here we are trying to get this function into the screens. So we can say by view model dot image list, and then we can call the observe as a state. So observe as dot observe as data, and I cannot find this function, so looks like I am missing on a dependency, so I will have to check it. So let's go back to our build.gradle. So we have Android X Compose runtime. Let's see, we have runtime for live data. Can check here for, no, we don't have the runtime for live data, so we need the dependency for runtime live data. So let's create it. I think we should put it with runtime, compose.runtime. I think I should put it here. So we can say implementation Android X dot compose dot runtime, and we can select the runtime live data. We can get rid of the version number and provide the compose version, and let's sync now, and when we should be good for using the state observe as a state. So now the sync is complete, and let's see if we can use it. So we can say dot observe. Now we can find it. So observe as a state, and here you can provide the list. So we can say list of, and we need to import the android.compose.runtime. So we can just import it. So what it does, it start observing this live data and represents its value via state, and every time there would be a new value posted into the live data, the return state will be updated, and it will cause recomposition of every state. So next we need a function for selecting the tab from the bottom navigation, and for that we need to go back to our main view model to create the variable for selecting tab. So let's get to main view model, and here we need to create variable to select tab. So we can say private val underscore select tab. Here we need a mutable state, so we can say mutable state. So the mutable state is the mutable value holder, and it reads the value of this property during the execution of this composable function, and it's need to be of type int, and then we can initialize it with mutable state of. So we can say mutable state of, and we can initialize it with 0. It returns a new mutable initialized value with the new passed in value that we provide when we switches the tab, and it's a single value holder class, which means it can only have one value at any given time, which is what we want to achieve here. Then we need a state interface to save this value, so we can say value select tab of type state, and then we can pass the int here, and then we can use we also need to import this state, so just import the androidx.compose.runtime, and then we need to set the getter, so we can say get, and then we can set it to select tab. Then we need to create a function to select the tab, so here we can say function select tab, and here we need to provide the string resource, so we can say at string resource tab of type int, and then we can update the value from here, so we can say underscore select tab dot value equal tab, and we need to annotate it with the main thread, so it will run on main thread, so we can say at main thread, and as you know, the main thread is UI thread as we discussed in the previous section, but since it's a very small function, to switch between tabs we can run it on main thread. Now let's go back to the screen, and here we can create the value for selecting the tab, so we can say value select tab equal, we can say image tab dot get tabs from resource, and here we can pass our view model dot select tab dot value. Then we need a value for loading to show the circular progress indicator when the app loads the data. So again, in the main view model we already have the mutable live data, we just need to create the live data for is loading. So let's here create the value for loading, so we can say value is loading of type live data, which is going to be of type boolean because it's either loading or not loading. Then we need another getter to get the value, and we can set it to underscore is loading the mutable live data, and we can get back to screen again, and here we can say value is loading equal boolean, we can say by boolean by view model, I think we should use the small by view model dot is loading, and we need the observe as state here as well, and here we can set the initial state to false. Okay, here we need to use the colon and not the equal sign. So in next section we will create a constant layout to put together the body and the progress bar for this screens function. So let's create the constant layout to put the body and progress of this screens file together. So we can say constant layout. And again, by now you must know that we need to create references for the constant layout. So we can say value, and we need a body and a progress. So we can say body and progress, and then we can say create reference. Now the first thing we need is to put the app bar on top of our screens. So for that we need scaffold, and scaffold implements the basic material design visual layout structure, and it provides API to put together several material components to construct your screen, and it ensures proper layout strategy for them, and it also collects necessary data so these components will work together correctly. So things like app bar or floating action button or bottom navigation are good example to put together under scaffold. So let's just do that. So we can say scaffold, and it's going to need some parameters. So we can say background color, material theme, dot colors, dot primary surface, and then we can say top app bar, and here we just need to provide the app bar we created. So we can say app bar, and that's it. But we need to constant it, so we can say modifier equals modifier dot constraints as, and here we need to pass the first reference, so we can say body. Then we need to provide the scope, so we can say curly braces, and here we can say top dot link to parent dot top. After this we need the bottom bar, so for that we need another dependency for the bottom bar paddings and height, and provide window sets which will you see later. So it's called accompanist insets dependency. You can find more information in link which is given in the resource. So let's declare the dependency. So we go to the project build, and here we can say accompanist version, and here we can declare the version, so 0.10.0, and we can sync now. Here I missed the typo mistake, so let's do it again. Then to build Gradle, and here we need to declare the dependency, so I can say here accompanist insets, and here we can say implementation com dot google dot accompanist, then again accompanist dash insets, and then we can provide the version number. So dollar accompanist version, and let's sync now. Now we can declare the bottom bar. So we can say it needs to be under the scaffold. So here we can say bottom bar, and inside this bottom bar we can say bottom navigation, and it needs some parameter as well. So we can say background color, we will set it to purple 200, and then we need a modifier to set the navigation bar's height. So we can say modifier equal modifier dot navigation bar's height, and to set this navigation bar's height we need the insets. So it's coming from accompanist insets. Without it we cannot set this navigation bar height. So let's do that to 56.tp, and then we need to provide the row scope for this bottom navigation, because we have two tabs and they will put together in a row. So we need to declare a tab variable first. So on top of, after is loading, we can say value tabs, and we can get the tabs from our image tabs. So we can say image tabs dot value, and now we can use it. So where were we? Yeah, bottom bar, bottom navigation. So now we can run a for each lab on this tabs. So we can say tabs dot for each, and we can create a variable here tab, then we can follow it by lambda expression, and here we can say bottom navigation item. So bottom navigation item, not bottom navigation but bottom navigation item, and it has some parameters. So it's a material design bottom navigation item. It is a recommended configuration for a bottom navigation item. Depends on how many items there are inside a bottom navigation. It provides all the necessary functionality for a bottom navigation. So to select, for selected, we can say tab equals double equals selected tab or select tab. Select tab, I really created a select tab. This should be actually selected tab. So let's rename it. So it makes more sense. So we can refactor it. Where is the refactoring? So now we have selected tab, and for on click we can just say, we can remove the to do, and we can say view model dot select tab, and we can provide the title. So we can say tab dot title. Let's move it to the next line so it will look easily, we can look it easily. And then we also need the icon. So here we can say icon, and for icon we can just pass the icon of type image vector. So we will choose the image vector, and here we can just say tab dot icon, and for content description we can just pass null, or you can pass a string if you want, does not really matter. Then we need label also, so we can say label, and for label we can simply pass a text here, so we can say text, and again we will be pulling the text from the string resource, so we can say string resource, and which needs an ID, so we can say tab dot title, and we need color, so I can say color equal color dot white, and here we have some problem with the color. Actually we don't have problem with the color, we have problem with the ID actually. Yeah, it should be, it's, I forget to actually get out from the small brace, and after label we need color for selected content, so we can say selected content color for the selected tab, so we can say local content color dot current, and we also need a color for unselected content, means unselected tab, we can set it to same. If you want you can set it to something else, it's your choice. And we need the paddings to apply additional space which match the height of the navigation bar's height along with the bottom edge of the content, and additional space which matches the width of the navigation bars on the respective left and right edges, so we can say modifier equals modifier dot navigation bars padding, and it will just apply by itself. So this is where the scaffold components complete. Let me check it again. Yeah, here it's complete, and now we need to declare the inner paddings, so we can fill the screen with the image and their details. So here we can say inner padding followed by lambda expression, and here we need crossfade, so crossfades allow to switch between two layouts with a crossfade animation, so we can say crossfade, and it's require a target state, so we can say selected tab, and then we need to provide the destinations so we can switch between them. We need to create a destination first, so destination variable, and now we need to provide the lambda expression, then we can run the when conditional expression, so we can say when destination, and here we can just say image tab dot home, so if we are on home we can switch to display images, and we just need to provide the images, so we can get rid of this equal, and we can get rid of this equal as well, and then we need another destination for list. So we can say here list image, which we have not created yet. So let's just create it quickly. We won't put anything in this file yet. We can just say list image for the sake of the project. Let's call it actually list screen, not image. So we can rename it. So list screen, and here we will just say list screen, and it's okay. We don't have anything inside this list screen, so that's why it's not getting it. So let's quickly put something inside it. So what we can put is we can just put this composable function. Here we can put this composable function. We can get rid of this parameter, and here we can simply say image list tab, and here we can call the greeting function actually. So after inner padding, we can declare the surplus progress indicator. So where it ends here. So after inner padding, we can say circular progress indicator, and here we can provide some parameters for it. So we can say modifier equal modifier, and we need to constant it. So we can say dot constants, as we can provide the progress, and then we need to provide the constant scope. So we can say top dot link to parent dot top. We want this indicator to be in the middle of the screen, so we will have to constant it from all sides. Now we can say bottom dot link to parent dot bottom, then we will have to link it from start. So we can say start dot link to parent dot start, and then from end side we can say end dot link to parent dot end. So in this way it will show in the middle of the screen vertically and horizontally. Now we need an extension for the visibility of circular progress indicator. So let's create the extension. So in our extension files, we can say new modifier extension, and here we need to create a function for the visibility. So we can say function modifier dot visible, and here we need a parameter for visibility. So we can say visibility of type boolean, and it need to be extended by modifier. And in this function we will return the value of color. So we can say if visibility so we will say this dot then 1f else we can say this dot then 0f. Okay, we need to annotate it with at stable, and here we need to provide the alpha. So inside this alpha we can pass this 1f, and here we also need to provide the alpha and pass the 0f. So depending on the value of is loading, it will change the alpha, so it will be seen or disappear the circular progress indicator. So back to screens. Here we can now here say dot visible, and we can pass the is loading. So that's it for this section, and from next section we will be building our main screen.